Death comes for us all in the end. It can be cruel. It can take away loved ones just at the click of a button, unexpectedly. However, there are some cases of people cheating death in unbelievable circumstances. Today I talk to you about 10 cases of this. I hope you enjoy. Number 10. Isdra Medea. He's now free today, but in 2004, Medea was doing construction work on the roof of a house when he fell. The fall didn't kill him, but the 6 3.5-inch nails that shot into the back of his skull and neck certainly should have. He only survived because the nails barely missed his brainstem and spinal cord. Number 9. Richard Blas. In 1968, the first mafia attempt against this Canadian gangster took place. 2 hired gunmen entered a bar where he was enjoying some drinks. Although shot at multiple times, he escaped unscathed. 2 weeks later, Blas was tracked by the mafia again. He was found in a motel named La Manoir de Plaisance in a Montreal suburb. The motel was set on fire and 3 people died, but Blas escaped the blaze. Police investigation indicated arson as the fire's cause. In October of that year, Richard Blas was injured by shots to the head and back after being ambushed with his partner inside a garage. The two were able to save their lives by driving through the garage door. Blas required hospitalization for his wounds. In January 1969, a bungled bank robbery and a shot cop put Blas in jail. Within the first year of serving 4 consecutive terms of 10 years in jail, Blas managed to escape. However, he was caught, thrown back in the slammer a second time, and escaped yet again. With a spurt of freedom and blood in his eyes, he set out and killed 2 co-conspirators in a bar that had testified against him. Everyone else in the bar was locked in and this place was set on fire. 3 days later, Blas' death finally came when he was shot 23 times. During his life, Blas was given the nickname The Cat because of his luck in evading death. Number 8. Ahad Israfil. In 1987, an accidental discharge of a gun blew half of 14-year-old Israfil's brain away. Yet, he survived and later graduated with honours. Doctors were able to fill the hole with a silicone block. The flap of skin was pulled over and hair even grew back, giving him a fairly normal appearance. Later, Israfil said, "I try to appreciate things a lot more. You never know what moment you won't be there." Number 7. Vesna Vlavich. It was 26 days into 1972 when 22-year-old flight attendant Vesna Vlavich found herself at 33,000 feet in the air and quickly descending to the earth without a parachute. Jet Flight JU-367 had been cruising over the Czech Republic when an explosion occurred. The terrorist group Croatian National Movement was named as responsible for the deaths of all but one, and, as astonishing as it sounds, Vesna Vlavich survived with a fractured skull, 2 broken legs, and 3 broken vertebrae, which left her temporarily paralysed from the waist down. She regained the use of her legs after surgery and continues to fly sporadically. She holds the Guinness World Record for the highest freefall. Something tells me her record won't be broken anytime soon. Number 6. Ludovico Silicic. On the day of the Pelée eruption, Silicic was locked in a single cell, partially underground with stone walls, ventilated only through a narrow grating in the door which faced away from Pelée. His prison was the most sheltered building in the city, and it was this fact which saved his life. On the day of the eruption, it grew very dark. Hot air mixed with fine ashes entered his cell through the door grating, despite his efforts in urinating on his clothing and stuffing it in the door. The heat lasted only a short moment, enough to cause deep burns on his hands, arms, legs and back, but his clothes did not ignite, and he avoided breathing this searing hot air. Superheated steam and volcanic gases and dust, with temperatures reaching over 1000 degrees Celsius, flattened the buildings in the city, and the entire population burned or suffocated to death. Number 5. Shannon Malloy. Shannon Malloy was in a car crash that caused her to be internally decapitated. Her spine was separated from her skull and all connecting ligaments and tendons were cut loose. Despite this, she managed to survive. Shannon had to endure several surgeries, one fusing her skull to her spinal cord. She suffered nerve damage that made her eyes constantly cross and limit her speech ability. Her pelvis and ankle were severely broken, but could not be repaired until swelling in the brain and spinal cord was reduced. Number 4. Royce Sullivan. The chances of being struck by lightning are very slim. The chances of being struck by lightning twice on different days is seemingly impossible. So what are the odds of being struck by lightning 7 times? With our world record holder Royce Sullivan, the events happened as follows. 1942. Sullivan was hit for the first time when he was in a lookout tower. The lightning bolt struck him in a leg and he lost his nail on his big toe. 1969. The second bolt hit him in his truck when he was driving on a mountain road. It knocked him unconscious and burned off his eyebrows. 1970. The third strike burned his left shoulder while in his front yard. 1972. The next hit happened in a ranger station. The strike set his hair on fire. After that, he began to carry a pitcher of water with him. 1973. A lightning bolt hit Sullivan on the head, blasting him out of his car and again set his hair on fire. 1974. Sullivan was struck by the 6th bolt in a campground, injuring his ankle. 1977. The 7th and final lightning bolt hit him when he was fishing. Sullivan was hospitalized for burns in his chest and stomach. His lightning hats are on display in New York's and South Carolina's Guinness World Exhibit Hall. Number 3. Anne Hodges. Sylacauga, Alabama, 1954. While Hodges was napping on her living room couch, a grapefruit-sized meteoroid crashed through her roof and ricocheted off her large wooden radio console, before it struck her on the arm and hip. She was badly bruised but still able to walk. The Air Force arrived and took the meteorite from her. Anne's husband Eugene hired a lawyer to get it back. Then, the landlord claimed it, wanting to sell it in order to cover the damage done to the roof. By the time the meteorite was returned to Anne and Eugene over a year later, public attention had diminished and they were unable to find a buyer willing to pay for the 8.5-pound alien Klondike rock. Against her husband's wishes, Anne donated it to the Alabama Museum of Natural History, where it can still be seen today. Number 2. Ben Carpenter. When crossing the street in Paw Paw, 21-year-old Ben Carpenter, and wheelchair-bound, was picked up accidentally by a truck. He was pushed by the semi-truck for 4 miles at 50 miles per hour after the arms of his wheelchair got stuck in the grill. The story goes that the driver had stopped at a red light and couldn't see Carpenter crossing in front of him. The light changed and Carpenter ended up having the ride of a lifetime. Carpenter later stated that he wasn't so fussed about all the media attention and people talking about his appearance. Like that's the big deal here. At least he's alive, right? Number 1. Phineas Gage. On September 13, 1848, Gage, a railway worker, was packing a hole with gunpowder. He added a fuse and sand and then packed the charge down with a large tamping iron. The gunpowder ignited, however, and the iron bar shot through his left cheekbone and exited out the top of his head, and was later recovered some 30 yards away from the site of the accident. Within minutes, he was up and walking. A few days later, he had fungus of the brain. A couple of weeks after, 8 fluid ounces of pus from an abscess under his scalp was released. Damage to Gage's frontal cortex had resulted in a complete loss of social inhibitions, which often led to inappropriate behaviour. He was no longer the same Gage that his friends and family knew. Today, his skull and the iron bar that shot through it are on display at Boston Warren's Anatomical Museum. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.